Okay, hey, entrepreneurs. Denise Klein here with Klein Virtual. And one of my favorite things to do is do member spotlight for our Klein Virtual Business Support Hub. And today we have the beautiful, the lovely Yvette Smith with It's a Priority for You. Hey, how you doing there, Yvette?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Denise.
I love this opportunity to share. Like I said before, I just love that's my favorite thing about this community is having an opportunity to share people that I adore and I admire so that everybody else can get to know you. So we're going to hop right in. So give us a little brief introduction about you and your story, how you got into business.
Well, first, let's see. I was plucked out of Sacramento into Winchester a couple years ago.
Hmm.
So, I'm a single mother of two adults now. My daughter, she has a family of six, and three of those are 6-year-old triplets,
Oh my
and I
goodness.
have fun with them. And my son, he has a grand dog, and so And so I was in California for 20 years actually, and entrepreneur there. But pain work management was my field, massage therapy, and for 15 years I um, practiced or administered work to people with pain management issues, and I loved it. I really did. COVID came, the pandemic, the doors were shut in March and they never reopened. And
Wow.
so I had to make the tough decision to close it, but I look at it as a blessing because my daughter and her family was here in Winchester. I had nowhere to go,
Hmm.
and because all income stopped,
Mm.
and they welcomed me to their home for the year. So I was able to come back, do a year study of a health coach to carry on my passion
Hmm.
of helping others. And so that's where I am today. Yes.
That is an amazing thing, and having family is makes
Yes.
all the difference, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, you made the switch from massage therapy into coaching, still health related. Um, why health? Why did you not decide to go back to massage and decided to go this way instead?
Well, I loved bodywork therapy. Oh my gosh. And I loved my clients. It was the connection. I loved the connections, the hugs of coming in and leaving, seeing the pain relief from people's body. It was really a passion for me. The eh, the decision was actually my age.
Mm,
The COVID year was my 65th year,
mhm,
and I did not want to retire, so to speak,
mhm,
but I wanted to do something where I can help people to
mhm.
continue to enhance their health
Yes,
and without damaging my body.
gotcha. That makes perfect sense.
And so that's why I wanted to I went into the health coaching to
Mhm.
help people, not just from the outside of the physical hands on, but on the inside from a cellular structure and enhancement.
I love that. I want to make sure we take a moment here to talk a little bit about it's a priority for you, because I'm still learning about what it is that you do. So I want to make sure that everybody watching gets a chance. So it's a priority for you. You do a couple of different things inside of that to help people. Can you give us a brief, a couple minutes on what it is that you actually do inside of your coaching program now?
Yeah, absolutely. So with coaching, actually it is health coaching, I should say. It is so widespread. So it really took me up to 8 months to figure out and narrow in.
Mhm,
And so right now what I'm offering is what is called a butterfly transformation package. And
mhm,
that's about transformation.
mhm,
Uh, I meet everybody where they are. People can identify, they know they need help, but they may not can put their finger on it. So I
mhm,
help them to discover that by
mhm.
asking questions and them pull from within instead of me dictating this is what you need to do. And find that they're more open to making an adjustment and finding a replacement for what they need and then practicing that and making that a part of their lives. It does incorporate what's on the plate,
Mhm,
but what's on the plate is not the majority of our health.
mhm,
It's the health of our finance, our relationships,
mm.
our, our home environment,
Mhm.
our, our cooking, our spiritual life.
Yeah.
It, is so much more that leads to health.
Mhm.
And when as people, we don't always get to discuss that at the table, or
True.
or when we're in groups with each other, we don't necessarily get to discuss that. So bringing that to the forefront and
Mhm.
helping people to identify and deal with a better mindset of where they are instead of the struggle. And
Mhm.
it helps to have for them to have like a better balance,
Yes.
a healthier balance. That's the adjustment, that they've chosen to do.
Well, and I love that you aren't just looking at the physical part of it, because we do know how much, I mean, obviously our health is physical if you have pain or if you have something broken or you have illness. But I love that you're incorporating the mindset piece, the spirituality and all the things that really go into having a healthy life. I think, I mean, I'll just speak for myself, I won't say for everybody, but it's so easy to get focused in on one thing. Like, for example, I'm so focused on my business right now, it's hard to think about having balance in the other areas of our life. But it's such it's such an important thing, and that's why I love the name of your business. It's a priority. You have to make that that health a priority. Like,
Yes, making that conscious choice and being able to be open to the options that are out there. Not everything is for everybody,
uh,
but when you're open to listen and listening to the options and being able to choose what's best for you,
mhm,
then that's how you can begin to see progress. I
mhm,
also offer a nutritional product. Now, I am not a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything like that, but I do suggest supplementation for people. And because my study during my associate's degree with bodywork therapy, we talked on a cellular level.
mhm,
And that's when it really opened my eyes as to, we think about what's on the plate, but do we really think about the conditions or the functioning of our organs?
mhm. No, we don't.
Right?
Mhm,
And when COVID came, I call this as a blessing in my life because this nutritional, it was a negative ion product
mhm,
that is actually, instead of swallowing it like we do with our normal vitamins, and then it has to be digested, the
mhm,
majority of us have a sluggish system,
mhm,
digestive system. This, it melts in your mouth, it goes right through the mucosal membrane, and it's direct to cell nutrition. And with direct to cell nutrition, your organs and your body systems is able to just like suck it right up and
wow.
begin to benefit from it because it's plant DNA, and plant DNA and human DNA is almost identical. So it can talk to, it's smart and it can talk to each other. So a lot of times people may not be in a position to be on that diet or
Mm,
be in a place where they can adjust their nutrition to take it all in. With this nutrition, I found that it was something that was really special about it that allowed us to absorb on a cellular um,
yeah. So for
approach.
even those of us like me that struggle with balancing everything and being busy, so the idea being with a supplement, it's you may not have the mental energy at this moment to fix what's on your plate, but you can add something healthier. So you're taking a step in that
Absolutely,
direction.
absolutely.
I also love this idea. I feel like a lot of times we, as consumers, will go out and we get so much mixed information, right? We have this guru saying this and this commercial saying that, and sometimes it's hard to know what's actually right for us. I love that your approach is you talking to your clients and helping them find what is best for them. You're not just another person out here saying this is the right thing and it fits for everybody, because everybody, and literally everybody is different. And what a relief to have somebody that would actually listen and reflect that back. So I love that. I think that's so beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
you had your business before, and so we kind of know why you moved from California and from massage therapy. but why, what made you decide to go into business in the beginning, in the first place versus, going and getting a job?
Well, you know, I was I shared with you, my young adults,
Hmm.
and my daughter was in a senior in college. My son was a freshman.
Hmm.
And at this time of my life, I was at a pharmaceutical company in Richmond.
Hmm.
Um, 19 years I was there, and putting them in college, like, what am I going to do now? As a single,
Mm.
I raised them for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I just had my conversation with God. I talked to mom. I was like, I want to step out on faith, and I want to find out what else is out there. And I must say that a lot of my girlfriends and friends and family, they thought I was crazy. It's
Hmm.
like, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And I'm going like, I don't know. What are you going to? And I was just like, and really, they were really, and especially, one of my brothers was like, you're not thinking this through. And I'm like, we go to church. I grew up in the church. I grew up in Sunday school. I sang in the choir. I ushered on the usher board. We went to Bible study, and everything was about have faith, have faith. And I was like, if I don't step out on faith, what will I ever know about having it?
Yeah.
And so that's what it took for me to start. And I went to Atlanta. I worked there. I got a job to
Hmm.
make everybody happy.
Hmm.
I worked in a beverage, Coca-Cola, and then they I got laid off.
Hmm.
Now, when I left the pharmaceutical company, I chose to, but at Coca-Cola, after 2.5 years, I got laid off.
Hmm.
My brother was in California at the time, and after 6 months, he was just like, "Come visit me." So I put my things in storage because I hadn't been anywhere except Virginia,
Yeah.
and went to California, and there I helped him with his business.
Hmm.
And then I found a job, and went and started living the California life, just
Hmm.
started eating healthier, going to the gym, working out, going to work. I loved working out in the mornings because it always gave me the energy to get through the day at work. And one morning I got to work, and all of the administrative personnel was directed to go in to have a meeting,
Hmm.
admin meeting. And Denise, that's when they gave us our last check
Wow.
and gave us a box
Wow.
to go back and clear our desk.
Wow.
And it was just, oh, um, and so I went home, and the only thing I knew, I had a girlfriend, and she was in Florida, and I called her, and we just cried. I just
Yeah.
and I was just like, this is never going to happen to me again. It's just not gonna. And so this was the second time, and I was just like, God, I was like, it's not going to happen again.
Hmm.
And so from that was the inspiration, and it was a lot in between that point and finding massage therapy.
Yeah.
But it was a 6 month, a little bit more, 6 months, 7 month process. And when I found massage therapy, I had no money to pay for the class. I my finances were, of course, shaky because I had none, but they found me grant money.
Wow.
And because I had stayed with Coca-Cola until the very end, they had stipend for anybody that would go to school. And so
Mhm.
my education was paid for.
Wow. Talk about faith, right?
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Hmm.
And so it was there that I started. It was 2004, 2005 is when I graduated with my associates.
Nice.
And that's when I started massage therapy. And from that point, it was a growth period,
Hmm.
but in 2000 up until 2008, that was, that's what I did too. I got clients, I did massage, I um a lot of triathlons, a lot of marathons,
Hmm.
athletic personnel. It was really a passion. It really became a passion.
Wow. Okay. I just want to stop for a moment because I think this is exactly why I want to do these interviews because for people like me that entrepreneurship is a dream, and I've told a little bit of my story before. I'm feel like I'm an entrepreneur 20 something years in the making. I have wanted to do something like this for such a long time. And one of the reasons I didn't is because I was afraid to fail. I was afraid I'm not going to know enough. And if I had known people like you or reached out to people like you or heard stories like this of, yes, it's hard. You went through so many hard things, Yvette,
Yeah.
but look what you did with it. All of those hard things led you to where you are and got you through all of these things, and you found something that's such a passion for you through the massage and now with the health, because it's just the other side of what you did at the beginning and it's still all health.
Yes.
And if you had just given up and stayed in a job or kept going to jobs where, I mean, exactly what you said, when you work at a job, we think that's safe, right?
Yes.
We think that's safer than being an entrepreneur. And here's two examples back to back for you that that was not true. And look at everything that you took from that and what you've made. And that's that's a miracle.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
that.
There were many things that I'll just add that look like failures. Honestly, they did. Someone looking on the inside, it was a lot that I did not share
Mhm,
with people because it looked like a failure. I know but I chose it to be only a stepping stone. It was
mhm.
appeared as an obstacle, but I used it as a stepping stone of what can I do from this point of
Yes.
where I am, no matter what that looked like. I didn't dwell on the where I was
Mhm.
as much as I dwelled on the where I wanted to be
Oh,
or had to.
that gives me cold chills. That is so good. No, and I love that. And I think we do that a lot as entrepreneurs. We don't share the hard things. We don't share the failures. And for anybody watching that's wondering, there's no such thing as a business without failure.
Yeah,
There's just not.
yeah.
And every successful business that you see out there, they have failed over and over and over again to get there.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's big failures, and sometimes it's little things. Sometimes it's crisis of faith, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes it's self-doubt. I mean, there's so many variations, but you kept your eyes on where you wanted to go.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. And one thing that I didn't listen, a lot of people would, yeah, you would hear this, most business fail, won't succeed, if they don't succeed in 5 years.
mhm,
And that was one of the things that I refused to believe. I'm just
mhm.
going like, you could just keep trying and trying and trying. The only failure is if you don't try.
Yes. And it's one of those things, there's a cliche, right? You kind of hear that if you don't, if you don't try, that's the only way to fail. But it's very true. Because again, for so many years I wanted to do something like this, and I tried a lot of other things, but I didn't try this, and carrying the weight of not knowing what I can do if I just had a little faith in myself. And really, it just starts with a little bit of faith.
Just a little,
You only need a little, and
and
because
and
it
keep that.
grows. Yeah, because it
Yes,
does grow over time. And the other thing too is connecting with people like you and all of our circle that we're building around ourselves, right? Because on
absolutely.
days when you don't feel like you've got faith in yourself, one of us,
Yes,
one of us will.
yes,
I love that so
absolutely.
much. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. We've talked a little bit because you had obstacles. So, what can you share something about an obstacle or how you overcame that? Because it's not easy when you have those obstacles and struggles.
Um, Actually, that's kind of one that's hard for me to articulate because the only thing I can say is that God got tired of listening to me.
He's like, just give
I,
it to her.
I had some conversations, and it was just the determination. Well, the few clients that I had, it was the persistence. The tenacity. I was not gonna give up. It was just that was just not in my blood.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it was
think
just
that's
not.
a
It was
great
just like,
that's a
yeah,
great answer. You don't
I
have to
just,
struggle for more because I really think I I think that's it. I think not that unreasonable way of saying, no, I'm going to do this. This is going to happen. And, of course, your faith is so important to you. And I can see that that's been a cornerstone for you through all of this.
yeah. When I really knew, I would dream before my practice, before I had an office, a studio,
Mhm.
I would dream of a purple and green room.
Mhm.
And those were just my colors. I just resonated with them.
Mhm.
And I kind of like you dream, but then you kind of forget about the dream.
Mhm.
And one day it happened, and I was standing in this little 500 square space, and a guy from church had helped me to paint it.
Mhm.
And I looked at the walls, and it scared me because I had a shade of purple and I had the shade of green, and I ran out, and he thought that something was wrong, and I was just like, I'll be back. And it was just like being in that moment of my dream. And it was just like, if I know I had it deep down,
Yeah.
and that's what I have now. It's like I have this burning desire to have a community of
Mhm.
healthy people that's health minded. And it's not like doing everything right. It's
Mhm.
like doing little bit by little bit
Yes.
to help us to get to the next level.
Absolutely. One of my friends and coach, Stacey McFarland, I interviewed her before too.
Yes, I know.
One of the things I get from her, she's like, when you have that center of you that that this
Yes,
is the right thing. I don't know how to explain that to people, but when you have that, you lean into it,
yes,
and so for you, and I've said kind of the same thing, I want to have a community, I want to create these things. And so for you, you exude that every time we've talked.
yeah,
I know that you are coming from that place where that you're doing
yeah, yeah.
exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
You
That
know,
that's a
I
gift.
will, yes. And I'd like to share this. I didn't think about this to just now. It's one of the things, I've always been, I grew up, in the Christian religion, and, and being there and have faith and going to church and believing in God, and, believing in Jesus, and all of the things that come with, our circle of spirituality.
Mhm.
And one of the things that when you said, is like when I had, and we can talk another time for the spiritual transformation,
Mhm.
but when I had that, that was one of the things that I can say that was clearer than anything that I have ever be- been defined in my life. And that's when I became, when I knew, when
Mhm.
you know that you know, and
Mhm.
you don't believe anymore. And I got to the point where it was like, oh, do you believe in Jesus? And do you believe in God? And it was like, my answer was no,
Mhm.
because I know.
you know yeah, it's
No
not a matter
way
of belief, it's a matter of knowing.
of knowing.
Now, and I think that's such an individual thing. Like you and I
Yes.
talked about faith before, and though we've come from different places, it's interesting how they parallel that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and could talk spirituality for a long time. It's one of my
Yes.
favorite
But we
things.
won't.
We,
Yes.
we won't. We won't. Okay, back to business. Back to business.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, how do you define success in your business? It looks different for different people. What does success look like for you?
For me, it's keep going
Hmm.
and not giving up.
Hmm.
It's looking at my blessings every day, every contact that I make.
Hmm.
Um, to me, that's another extension of my business because I'm sharing with others what I'm doing,
Hmm.
and I'm sharing me.
Hmm.
It's the business as well. But
Hmm.
when I came to Winchester, I realized that, it's like it really wasn't about the business. I didn't even have health coaching a certificate. I had my anion drops, my APL drops, yes.
Hmm.
But it wasn't about getting out to sell that. It was about getting to know the people and
Yeah.
getting to know the community.
Hmm.
And my first business was built on referral.
Mhm.
And I know some people say, well, that takes a long time to do that, but it's nothing like relationships.
No, I
Nothing like being able to, walk down the street and someone, call you by name, or,
mhm,
and just being a part of.
mhm,
My success is embracing those that are around me. My success is not being coming from a place of judgment. I don't Everybody has a place where they are, and
mhm,
that's okay.
mhm,
You know, um, no one has been in anyone else's shoes except their own.
mhm. True.
And Lord knows I've had mine,
Mhm.
quite a few pair of boots. But just um knowing and believing in myself and knowing that I can go within,
Mhm.
and whatever I need is from within,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And so my success is just coming from just being me, being authentic, being transparent,
Mhm,
having the integrity,
mhm.
um and then just enjoying life as it comes to me,
Yeah,
and the business will come. The
it will.
business is coming.
Yes, it is. And I see you because we end up in the same circles a lot of time, and I always make a beeline for you because I do believe that that connection with other people in the community is so wonderful. I mean, we're fortunate we live in the same area, so we do get to see each other live a lot
Yes,
of times. And jumping into a community like this and getting to know people, it does take time, but you get to connect with so many wonderful people and finding ways to give back. And I love that that is such an important part of how you define success in your business. And when you define success that way, you literally can't fail because you are being yourself and you're living that truth for yourself. That's wonderful. I love that.
that's so
Listen
true.
up, people.
True.
She's smart. She's a smart lady. Okay.
Oh,
How do you maintain motivation? Because sometimes there are some days you wake up and you're like, I'm not feeling it today. And sometimes maybe it lasts more than a day. So what are your go-tos to help you stay focused and maintain that motivation?
well, Denise, I'm gonna be honest. There aren't too many days that I wake up and it's like not feeling whole drum, that don't want to get up and don't want to do anything. It's not too many days like that. And I think that I know that has to do with when you get your, 60 plus.
Mhm.
I'm blessed to be able to get out of the bed. I am thankful that I can get out of the bed without pain, that
Mhm.
I get up and I can just do just about anything that I want to do. But
Mhm.
I do have a mindset that
Mhm.
at night I do a meditation,
Okay.
and I wipe out anything that's negative that's come along or that's observed,
Mhm.
and I just release it, and I don't focus on it. If anyone has said anything, which is rarely, that someone may say something that's not positive,
Mhm.
my thought comes back is they have something going on,
It's
and it's
about
not
them.
about me.
Yes.
And so I'm at more of a like a mature place.
Mhm.
But I do write my meditations. I do write some affirmations,
Mhm.
and that just lets me know that it's like, Yvette, what is your passion? It
Mhm.
is, what is your desire? And it's like, so when I get up, it's somebody that I can talk to, somebody that I can just, I was walking down the mall, the walking mall, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't realize it. And someone's like, you have a nice smile, and I was just like, oh, thank you. It's like I don't even realize that I'm
Just
smiling.
walking around smiling.
It's just like, because I intentionally want to feel good, and it's
Yes.
coming from a place of that giving
Yeah.
now, and that's what keeps me going,
Well, we were talking a little bit before, we are talking about like building in habits. And so you have not just, healthy physical habits like being, exercising and things like that, but these mental habits that you've
Mhm.
built in. Obviously, your faith is probably a big part of that as well, but having affirmations and, spending time on, how you view things
Mhm.
builds that so that you don't have those humdrum.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But I will share with you that that was a long time. Like I said,
Mhm.
that's now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the time that I was going through a lot of my struggle, and that's where I picked up having these practices. I would get up and do a little bit of yoga.
Hmm.
And then some days it was like before the business really got off for my massage and I had gotten laid off, that was a period of depression.
Of
And
course.
I had to talk to myself.
Hmm.
I had to get in the mirror and I had to say, Yvette, get out of your way, you know, because that was, I was standing, I was blocking, I was being more critical of myself,
Hmm.
and it wasn't about me. It was about the journey that I was going through. And so I had to embrace the journey.
Yes.
And that was a lot of talking to.
Hmm.
That was a lot of, prayer,
Yes.
and it wasn't easy
No, and I
by
don't
any
want,
means.
yeah, and I don't want people to think, and that's why I think it's so important for us to talk about um, the struggles that we have in our businesses, because we live in this Instagram, Facebook world where everybody
Mhm.
just sees the beautiful pictures, and they don't see all the work that it took to get there, and not just the busy work of a business, but that mental and emotional work that
Yes,
we have to do for ourselves
yes.
to get there. And for me, it was very much a personal, entrepreneurship really has been a very personal journey. And it sounds like it has been for you too, when you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, get out of your own way. I've done that. I have had
Wow.
I
Oh,
have
yes.
had to do that
Right?
because we let our fears stay in our way. And I'm
Yes,
like, okay, I can let the old Denise who was afraid of these things keep running the show, or I can have faith that this calling that I feel like I have is the thing to do.
yes.
And so I say,
Yep.
Denise, get
And
out of
this
your
is one
way.
of the things too, Denise, is like this is something that I so appreciate having this conversation with you because I am one to shy away from
Mm-hmm.
something like this,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it's like you bet you got to take that step.
Mm-hmm.
This is another level of letting go another layer, a piece of onion of the fear, onion
Yeah,
fear.
just putting ourselves out there is a scary thing. That's part of the reason I decided to do this, because this is a way for me to share without me being in the spotlight. I can put the spotlight
You are.
on. I know I am, but it feels safer because here I am. I'm not here to tell my story, though I end up talking about my relational things too.
Mhm.
But it feels safer to put myself out here in this way because I can bring a friend along.
Yes,
And but as we do this, I mean, you said that you're in your 60s, I'm almost 50, and something happens when your kids get older. My son is 17 now. Priorities change. We start looking at ourselves different. And I want women to know that just because you get laid off, or because the job that you have doesn't feel right for you, doesn't mean that there's not other options out there. And look what you've done. Look what I am doing, and look at what the people in our community. We know so many women. I keep going back to women. There are men in business too.
yes,
There are so many of us that are, women that are a little older that are out here trying to do something, and the opportunity to connect the way that we have, and then I think feel like we're doing in this conversation, and supporting each other, because
wow.
we need it. We need to support ourselves, but we need it from each other, I feel too.
Absolutely, because it's all about empowerment,
Hmm.
becoming empowered on all the levels that
Yes.
we need,
Yeah.
that we have,
Hmm.
available to us,
Hmm.
to be. And it's not about control, it's just about standing up and being the person, being that we're meant to be, that
Yes.
we can be.
Yes, because
Yeah.
there's no limit on that. We get to decide what that is.
Yes.
So, we want to do more, we want to give more, we want to connect more. That's a big one for me, is connecting,
Yeah.
because that's not something that was has always been easy for me. So I love this journey, because it really does. You get to touch on so many different aspects of our lives through being an entrepreneur. Who knew? I had no
I knew.
idea. I had no idea when I was getting into it exactly what it was going to be. So, yeah, it's
Oh,
just fascinating. That's why I like hearing these stories of
yes.
others too.
And once an entrepreneur, I believe always an entrepreneur. Coming back to the East Coast, and it's like, am I going to get a job? And I'm going like, that's not an option.
Because you know there's a better way. You know there's
It was
a better,
like my network marketing and my health coaching
yeah,
together.
dreams come from
creating
that.
creating it's a priority for you.
There you go. And I will make sure we put links and stuff because I want everybody to have access to all the wonderful things you're doing. Okay, so let's talk about if you were talking to someone like me that maybe hasn't been in business very long, or someone who's maybe thinking about starting their own business, maybe they still have a 9 to 5. What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about jumping into entrepreneurship?
Go deep within. I know a lot of people would say, or coaches, write that business plan out. That may come along, but go within.
Mhm,
And what is your passion? What may be that hobby? What may be something that you really can pour yourself into?
mhm,
Because that's what is going to get you up. That's
mhm,
what's going to keep you motivated. You need something that no matter what shows up, it's
mhm,
like deep down that this is going to work
mhm.
because it's coming from within,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and no one knows what that looks like,
Mhm,
and no one knows what that feels like
mhm,
except you.
mhm.
And so once you get that conviction, then you can go get your coaching and your business plan and your financing.
Yeah, because all of it comes from that. It's got to come from
Yes.
that deep within. I wish I had talked to you before I started my business. That's why I've had to change my business because I didn't do that. And I really feel like that is such good advice because I think a lot of people say, okay, well, they see get rich quick kind of schemes or like, okay, well, everybody's doing this or everybody's doing that. But and not that you can't make money doing just about any of those kind of businesses, but
Right?
if it doesn't fit you, if it
Yes.
doesn't come from you, it's going to be much harder if, I mean, who knows if it'll be successful, but I think you have a better shot when it
Yes.
comes from within.
Because you get to be the creator
Hmm.
and blend in the creativity and
Yes.
have all of the colors that you want in
Mhm.
it, to make it flourish the way you want it to flourish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Well, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize either. They'll get into a business and they're like, oh, I'm going to be a coach or I'm going to be this. Once you get into it, then you're like, oh, but I could coach this way. And it's your own flavor, right? It's your
Yes.
own story. You talked about that authenticity earlier.
Yes.
And once your business really does become infused with who you are, and you got to be willing to be a little vulnerable to go there
Yes.
sometimes,
Yep.
but it really does. And it can become intensely personal, with, like you said, your own flavors and your own colors and making it the way that you want it to
Yes.
be. It's so
Yes.
it's so
Because it's a part of you and people will know that. They
mhm,
will feel that. They will sense that.
mhm.
And that to me is what draws people. And that's why it's like I'm not looking for everyone. I'm just looking for those that are looking for
Yes,
me. And
yes,
that makes the connection and that makes the business successful.
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, so let's talk about looking ahead. Do you have any goals or aspirations for your business in the future? Interesting things you want to do?
Um, yeah, I have a combination of things, something that just came down the pike from the nutrition line, my APL drops and then the health coaching because I really want people to start taking a look and maybe incorporating some things.
Mhm,
And so I'm going to be reaching out because I have this little app that people can get for it's like under $6 and you just one time thing and you just get on the app and you just do these 8 things daily. And
mhm.
it's like, and if you miss a day or you don't get all of the 8 things, you got to start over. And so I kind of like, and sometimes it's like, yeah, and I'm just beginning to start. I haven't even invited anybody, but I thought that maybe it'll be something fun to do with people, and and they can do with people, just to keep us mindful. You may not
Yeah,
get it all done, but at
right.
least you're doing something daily
Yeah.
to strive toward a healthier
Yes.
lifestyle.
Well, like you said,
Um,
it's building that habits. So this
yes.
help you build that habit over time.
Yeah, because if you tell somebody they got to get on a diet, then they're just going to go, they're going in the opposite direction.
Well,
And
especially with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming.
I know, right? And speaking of which, and
Mhm.
then at the beginning of the year, I'm trying to gather some, I'm putting the word out there now, but at the beginning of the year, I would like to have like a weight challenge
Mm,
thing, or for people, because at the beginning of the year they set their goals, they set, their
mhm.
um what are those things called that we set?
Resolutions. Set
Yeah,
New Year's
you
resolution.
know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so I'd like to, let everybody have a good time, good Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. And then when you think about that, I want to lose these, 3 to 5 or 10 pounds. And I'd like to get a group together, and let's just take that challenge and just do it.
Yeah. Well, when you have that together, make sure you let me know. We'll put it out to the group and
Okay.
so they can take part in that too.
All right.
Is
Sounds
there
fun.
anything in particular that we can do to support you? We've got a nice little group. I think we're up to 85 people in our group now. Yay.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so are there any like a referral requests or anything like that that we could put out to the group to support you?
Yes. Well, I'm beginning to work with women between the ages of 40 and 60 plus. If
Mhm,
they're pre-diabetic, or have a sugar balancing, or diabetic,
mhm,
um, and even with wanting to feeling stuck in their body with a little weight going on.
mhm.
Those are who I'm looking at targeting.
Okay.
And I'm offering a 30-minute consultation. I have an e-file that I can send out to them. They can fill out the health history. We
Mhm,
can do a 30-minute consultation and just see where they are,
mhm.
and then see where something that I have that they
That
could
would
like to
fit.
start on.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I need to book that. I am your target audience.
Okay.
So I will definitely be booking that. Any events or anything coming up that you would like listeners to know about, and other than your New Year's thing, which we can get out when you have more info?
Um, no, I'm going to Dubai in a few
Oh,
weeks,
that's right.
and
You want a
so
trip?
I'm
That's
really
so cool.
I'm excited about that. So everything else is going on
On
hold.
hold for that. I don't blame you. I want to see all the pictures. Well, Evette,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming and doing this and sharing. I feel like we could have talked for hours,
Oh, thank
like
you
we
so much.
always do, but this was so good, and I'm so excited to share you with the world, and so everybody knows how wonderful you are. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with me today.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Denise. I so appreciate you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Yeah.